the session today, we're going to talk a little bit about TPG and Planisware, and then we're going to get a live demo of the Planisware tool and specifically look at how that meets the requirements of enterprise level PPM tools. The session today will be hosted by myself. We've got Sam from Planisware and Marion will be doing the demo.
Hi everyone, thanks Peter for the introduction. As you heard, I'm Sam, I'm the marketing manager for the UK and Ireland here at Planisware. Taking us through our demo today will be Marion Fina. She's our Chief Product Officer for Planisware Enterprise. Slide please. So a little about Planisware. So for those of you that haven't heard, we are an industry-leading PPM software provider. We have over 830 global PPM clients, spanning a range of exciting industries such as pharma, engineering, IT, and manufacturing. Our PPM capabilities come to life through our two products, Planisware Enterprise and Planisware Orchestra. This allows us to meet the needs of a variety of businesses, wherever you are in your PPM journey. In today's demo, however, we'll be focusing specifically on enterprise, running through portfolio reporting, new projects, strategic portfolios, and project execution. Planisware is a privately owned business. Our sole mission is to develop and improve PPM best practices. It's what we've been doing since 1996. Our software is developed entirely in-house with our expert teams, and our founder and CEO, Pierre Desmontsant, has even been known to this day to still get stuck in himself with the hands-on development of Planisware Enterprise. The work of our customers is something we take an enormous amount of pride in, being world-changing in their industries and by their global presence. We take a lot of what we learn from them back into our product in order to continue improving and developing. We're also proud to achieve this global presence and impact via our strong network of partners such as TPG, as well as more than 500 employees across 12 locations around the world. In the UK, you can find our team in Manchester's digital hub, Media City UK. In terms of our effectiveness in the markets we lead in, don't just take my word for it, you can also take a look at what the experts have to say about us. Planisware as a company and as a product are proud to have been recognised as market leaders by analysts such as Forrester in 2017 and Gartner for the last 2 years running. And that's it. So I'd now like to hand over to the part you're all waiting for. So Peter and Marion, thank you.
So just a few words from me before we hand over to Marion's demo. As I mentioned, TPG have been delivering PPM solutions to customers for over 20 years on various different platforms. Requirements around portfolio management, analysis of portfolios, playing out what-if scenarios, program, project management, resource management, cost management solutions within that context, and governance and controls around running large-scale projects and programs of work. Historically, from a TPG perspective, these have often involved a mix of tools, a blend of tools, perhaps a tool for scheduling, another tool for resource management, and other tools for governance and management reporting. From a TPG perspective, we're moving into a very exciting phase in working with Planisware. From the demo that Marion's about to walk through, you'll see the Planisware platform, and a single platform offers very powerful capability in all of these areas, and that combined with a very intuitive user experience really makes for quite a compelling offering. No matter what your role within the project, no matter what stage that project is at, you're never more than a few clicks away from the information you need to help you in your decision or help you take that project forward, or information and reporting to help you in that decision. And in addition to as well, Marion's going to be touching on some of the integration with email, with Excel, with reporting packs, and so with PowerPoint, all of which makes that user experience incredibly straightforward and very powerful indeed. So enough from me. I'm going to hopefully now hand over to Marion. Just bear with us.
So this is the agenda we'll go through today during this demo. So we'll start by a few portfolio reporting to give you an idea of what we can achieve with Planisware as a PPM system. Then we'll go through a new project demand to see how we can create data in this in those reporting. We'll see how we can assess this new project demand in the context of a portfolio, in the strategic portfolio module. And then we'll go through a little about project execution, showing the hybrid capabilities of Planisware. So let me connect to Planisware. So Planisware is a web-based tool. So it's really something that you just need a browser to connect to. So it's, as you can see here, I'm connected with a portfolio manager user. And what you can see on the top of the screen is the main modules I have access to. So as a portfolio manager, I have access to many different modules in the application. But of course, this is modular and this will be depending on your profile. So right now, what you can see on the screen is the workbox. So the workbox is really the one place where you will get everything you need to know about the system, everything you need to do in the system. So for example, here it can be workflows. So we have a gate approval, a gate to approve, and we can see the workflow for this gate here in the gate section. It can be alerts about actions, things that we need to take care in the system. So for example, could be portfolio over budget, could be late project, and so on. It could be some collaboration information, so upcoming meetings, post exchanges with other users, as well as anything that will be helping you in the system. So to start with, I will be clicking on this post. So here we can see that I need to review the portfolio status. So I can directly click on this post, and this is directing me to the appropriate screen inside Planisware. So you can see here on this screen the executive summary for my portfolio. So here I'm on the portfolio of all my projects, and I can have an idea about the EAC compared to the budget, the number of risks that are closed, the actual money spent, the task progress, as well as some high-level KPI about time, cost, deliverables. So it's really giving you a global overview about your portfolio.
So just to comment on this, Marion, what we see here is a composite report, a blend of tabular charts, tables, combining not just schedule information, but KPIs and costs and so forth. And this is configurable. We can add and take away elements of this if need be.
Yeah, exactly. So it's Planisware has its own internal BI tool that you can use. It's called Planisware Explorer, and you can update and create dashboard from it. And it's making use of live data, all data coming from the system directly that you can combine in those kind of reports, making it your own reporting that will be tailored to your company. So if we go into a few of those topics in more detail, let's have a look to start to the timeline view. So here we can get a global overview of the timeline of my project. So you can see here some projects that have a stage gate, and you can see where they are into the stage gate. So you can also see that we have different stage gate models. For example, here on the top, we have some stage gate models that are fast track, where we have 4 phases, but we can also accommodate other models. For example, here we have a full stage gate with the complete 5 stages. So you can here get an idea of where your next upcoming gates are into the next few months. We can also drill down into a more cost-related dashboard. So here we can get an idea about the project cost. So in terms of comparison between actual and estimate to complete with the budget. So here we can see the green line being the budget. We can see where we are over the budget, at which months we are getting over the budget. And on the bottom, we can see by nature of cost for each month how our costs are broken down. And of course, those nature of costs can be completely configured by your functional administrator to match your company's nature of cost. On another topic, we also have the ability to see the project by funding sources. So here we can see which are the funding sources that will fund our project. And here the detail on the bottom about how much they are spending on each of the projects.
So another question for me then, in terms of, so we're analyzing here by funding source. If we wanted to analyze the data by geographical location, region, business unit, and so forth, are these all configurable options?
Yes, exactly. So we'll see when we will create a new demand that we can attach the project to different what we call breakdown structures, and then you can report on any of those breakdown structures. So yeah, typically that could be by location, by type of project, and so on. So we'll see some other examples, and those breakdown structure can also be configured to be matching your own breakdown structure, because not two companies have the same exactly. So you can also rename them to match your own data model.
Great.
So we'll have a look also at the resources. So let's have a look at the resource dashboard to get an idea about our resource capacity. So here we can see on the top which departments are overloaded and which department may have some overcapacity. So this gives us a good idea at the top. We can also check where we are spending our resources. If we are spending our resources on disruptive, continuous, progressive projects, so we need to check our alignment, our strategic alignment in terms of resource allocations. And also we can see the demand by projects to check which projects are consuming a lot of resources. And since here the projects are ranked by priority, we can check that we don't have any big project or projects using a lot of resource on the top right, because those would be low priority projects consuming a lot of resources. So we need to take care of this. And just to highlight drill down capability, if you want to check what are the projects causing this bottleneck for the design and engineering department, we can click to drill down to this workload by project report. So we can see for this department, design and engineering, which are the projects that are causing the bottleneck. So we can see them in details here, and we can check where we may have some problems and which project may need to do some other plans like outsourcing and so on. And finally, we also have the ability to manage risk in Planisware. So this is an example of a risk reporting where we can see on the x-axis the probability of occurrence, and on the y-axis the cost of risk avoidance. So we can check on the top right of the screen if we don't have any big risk that may come up that may affect our portfolio. We can also see by color the severity of the risk. So it's giving you a good picture about all the risk that may happen in your portfolio.
So that's been really useful from looking at what we have in terms of projects in flight. Could you take us through initiating a project and how we can step through the various stages, please?
Yes, sure. So let's now go into the projects module. So here we are into the projects module on the home page of this module. So we have a list of projects that are filtered based on the portfolio. So we can change portfolio. So we can have different type of portfolio. It could be by product, by OBS, and so on. So if I'm focusing only on the BU1 project, that will restrict the screen according to my portfolio selected. And here we can see for each project its stage gate status here. So we can see if it has not yet started, if it has already a few gates that have been validated, and so on. We can see some high-level load, cost, and delay indicators, some financial information, as well as some dates for this project. So let's maybe start by initiating a new project. So let's call it live TPG demo 01, new project for portfolio, and we'll start by selecting a template.
So if you could talk us through what the template does. I guess some of us would be familiar with the idea of a template maybe being a templated schedule, but what else do these template control and offer?
So in Planisware, you can create template that will initiate both the schedule, as you said, but also you can as well create some cost information inside your template, or load information to pre-load, enter cost in the template. but also it will predefine the governance model, so the stage gate model that will be applied to this project. So that's something that we'll see when we'll have created it. So I will select this NPD project template here. And now we'll have all the relations that will be related to this project. So this project will be attached, for example, to a responsible department, will be attached to a certain product, to a project type, and all of those will be used to consolidate information at the portfolio level. So all the reporting we've seen are relying on those breakdown structure to be able to consolidate data. So you can also choose information from breakdown and filter based on breakdown. You can also directly type into a breakdown. So if you want to select, for example, a run project, you can directly type and then select the value. It's pre-filling the breakdown with the values. So now that we've entered the main project information, so all of those can be configured according to your company data model. We'll define the rights and responsibility, and we'll mainly focus on the gatekeeper. So this will be, I will put my own user as the gatekeeper and the deliverable reviewer. So those will be used to define who will be accepting the gate, making decisions on the gate and on the deliverables for this project. So now I'm clicking OK to initiate, create this project. And we are now inside this new project, new demand on the stage and gate screen, where we can see on the top the high-level phases and gates for this project, and on the bottom for the current phase, what are the deliverables that need to be performed.
So that's very clear. We're currently sitting in the proposal phase, about to move into the next gate. Could you talk around these deliverables at the bottom of the screen?
Yes. So here, so what you said, we are in the proposal phase. So the project is not yet approved. We'll approve it if we go through the first gate. And those are all the deliverables that we need to fulfill to go and submit the first gate. So those deliverables can be documents. So like here, we have a product concept document. It can also be links to other screens in Planisware. And as you've seen from the workbox, we have the ability to create links between different screens, automate the ability to go to one screen and so on. It makes user acceptance much easier than in other tools, because people don't necessarily need to navigate a lot in Planisware. If you just have one deliverable to fulfill, you will just be able to click on it, and then you are directed to the screen. So here I've clicked on the product scorecard, the project scorecard, and I am now directed to the screen where we can input this scoring. So here we have project scorecard, an example of project scorecard, where we have different criterion. So for each criterion, so for example, what's the level of financial risk, I will be able to select a value. And when saving, this value is translated into a numerical value, so that we can then compare all the projects together and see what's the most attractive project, not only based on quantitative values, but also qualitative information that will be shared on all the different projects. So you can see that each value will correspond to a numerical score, and that will be able to create the total project score.
And these categories, these gradings of important, these are all configurable?
Yes, exactly. So it's based on a scorecard template. So you can have different scorecard template depending on your type of project, for example, and the functional administrator will be able to adapt and create its own scorecard with your own values and your own criterion in the admin section for your projects. So let me go back to the stage and gate screen. So here we have the document, so I will not go through the document entry, but we'll first go to the cost and load estimate. So here in this screen, we want to give a very high level estimate about how many FTE do we need by department and how many costs do we need for this project. So let's start by FTE, and we'll say that we need, for example, 1 FTE for the design engineering, and then 2 FTE in 2021. And when saving, it's translating into, as you can see on the top, into internal labor cost. So here it's based on the rates of the resources, and it's automatically transforming those FTEs into cost. We can also say that we need maybe here 2 FTE in this category. And we'll also need some subcontracting. And also then we'll need also maybe some marketing expense.
And do we have the option here to change currency if we're planning in a different currency zone?
Yes, completely. So here this screen is in pound, but of course you could have it in euro, dollar, and so on, depending on your currency or the currency of your project, because we have many customers with projects in various countries, various currency. So you can manage all your exchange rates and so on, and be able to use multi-currency in any of our screens. So let me go back to the stage and gate screen, and we'll go through now the initial P&L analysis. So in this screen, so it's here one P&L model that could apply. So that's one example. Of course, you may have your own. And here we'll find the investment part that's filled with the cost we've entered previously. And most of the time, what we have seen is that people prefer for the financial part to manage data in Excel. They are very familiar with Excel. So we are used to see people exporting data to Excel. So here we can export this screen to Excel and then directly update this file into Excel. So I will enable editing for this file, and I will say that I need to fill in this P&L with some values. So I will say a volume, and as you can see when I type, it's not only filling in one single row, but it's also updating some other information, because we keep the calculation inside the Excel spreadsheet. So it's not only a flat document, it's really taking into account all the calculations that were done also in the system. So you can directly, by typing in this Excel file, retrieve information that will appear later on when you will upload in Planisware. So here I'm saving the Excel file, and then I can directly take this updated Excel file and drag and drop it into Planisware, and you can see the updated values are in green, and I can now save to recalculate the main indicators on the top, the financial indicators. So here you can directly see the impact of your updates in the main financial indicators of your projects.
And the profit and loss of the P&L accounts and categories, they can be tailored and configured to every company's needs?
Yes, exactly. It's really here, it's an example of a P&L model. And of course, this will be completely adjusted according to your need. So if we go back to the stage and gate screen, we've done all of the different deliverables that were required in the system. So yeah, we didn't go through the document, but we would do it by updating it. And now we can submit this gate to ask for this project to be validated. So I will submit this gate and add to a gate review meeting, because in this company we are working with gate review, and we will want to review this gate in the context of the next gate review. So we'll add it to this gate review meeting that's upcoming on the 11th.
And can that send alerts to the relevant stakeholders via email for the meeting?
Yes, exactly. So I will add it. And so if I go back to the home page, as you can see, I have now first a new item in my workbox asking me to approve or not the gate for this new project. And we can also receive emails and so on for each of the workflows. So you can see here on the preferences of each user, you may have for each workflow the ability to receive those by email or not, depending on your preferences, because you may not want to be overloaded with emails, but it can be very important to receive some categories of email for some approval. So that's how you can configure that and check what you decide what you want to receive as emails. So coming back to the workbox, we can see that, so we do see that we have this gate to approve, but we also have this upcoming meeting. So let me go into this meeting, and we can see on the left part the meeting information. So we've seen here the organizer, the date, and so on. So it's really high-level information that's will still be in your calendar application, but we can retrieve this information in Planisware and synchronize. But what's really important is the right part, the agenda, because you will be able to run your meetings directly from Planisware. So here you can see that you have the ability to make a decision for this new project or demand, but in fact, you will probably not make the decision out of context on one single project. And you may want to do first a portfolio prioritization exercise to have a global overview about all your portfolio and to take the decision into a global context, making sure that you can afford to do this new project, to launch this new project. So here from this agenda, meeting agenda again, we can directly click on the thumbnail of this screen, and we will be directed to the appropriate screen. So here the waterline screen into my strategic portfolio module. But maybe let's take a quick step back into this module. So here I will go back to the home page of this module, and you can see that in this company, we have broken down our portfolios into a two-level way. So we have on the top the strategy, corporate strategy, and we have three main axes: marketing, product development, and professional services. And when I open this strategic axis, I can go to first a roadmap to give you a global overview about what will be the next big subject for each of our strategic axes. And it's not just a big picture that you could do in PowerPoint, for example, because you may very well do this kind of roadmaps in PowerPoint. But if we drill down, for example, on one strategy, the marketing strategy, here you will have the ability to really make use of data coming from Planisware. So you can have product and project information that will be directly updated coming from data that's available in Planisware in the system. So you don't have to update your roadmaps manually, but you can directly in one click update your roadmap and get the most up-to-date dates and information coming from the system. So here you can have a global overview of your strategy and what are the upcoming marketing events, competitors, and products, and what you plan to launch for the next year. So it's really where we want to do those kind of roadmaps.
So you see entities here, it's not just about a portfolio of projects here. You've got entities here representing key events, key milestones that are feeding into your strategy. Yes,
exactly. You can add manually any important event that you want to represent on your roadmap. So it's not only making use of data coming in from the system. You can also create your additional information, and you can also integrate with other source of data if you need to retrieve those information automatically. So let me go back to the top level and to the waterline screen. So here we will be on one portfolio. So we are on my portfolio of all projects. And here I will be able to create scenario. So I will first start without any scenario. And what we can see here is one line per project in my portfolio. And on the right, my financial targets. So I do have 20 million for 2020 and 2021 to spend. So I will want first to initiate a new scenario, and I will not do that randomly, but I will rank by the must-do projects and their project score, which means that must-do is about regulatory projects or projects that you really need to do to have your company running. So it can be security and so on. So all the projects that you really need to do and that you cannot afford not to do for any reason. And then we will want to get the project with the best score. So let's click on this to create, initiate a new scenario. So here you can see that we have now the projects that are ranked by must do and then the best score. So I will then select all the projects that I want to include into my scenario. And so now we have a scenario and we are really completely compliant with our targets, our financial target, which means that the line of my scenario and the water line, the blue line, are the same. But I can manually force rank projects. So here, the new project that we had created, I would want to add it in my portfolio, so I can drag and drop it and force rank it into my scenario. I can do that with some other project that I think we really need to do. And then you can see that some projects will not, we cannot afford them anymore in this case. So they are, the blue line is coming up and the line of my scenario is not anymore the same as the one. And we can see which projects we could not afford to do anymore in this case.
So I think this is really powerful. This is typically what a lot of organizations will do, is take their information on their portfolio, on their projects in the pipeline, run through these kind of exercises and scenarios offline, and then there's a continual cycle of getting the latest information. So this is very powerful. In terms of other scenarios, are there any other what ifs other than, you know, you've shown including forcing projects into a scenario? Are there anything else we can do around what ifs?
Yes, so yeah, we do have other options, because many people do also more advanced simulations. So we'll see some examples into the time shift part. So here, what you can see in this screen is one line per project. So here you can see for each project, we can see where they are in time. And on the bottom, we can see the effect on here the availability of our resources. So depending on our scenario, we can see if we may have some bottlenecks in terms of resources, and we can see what would be the effect of moving one project in time and if it has any impact on our bottlenecks. And we can do that by resources, but also on the cost side. So here we can see each project corresponds to a color. So for example, the R&D 009 is the blue project here. So we can make the match with the color. And if I move this project in time, I can see the effect here, and it solves somehow my budget problem. So we have less budget overrun in this case. It can also be based on some values. So we can also put a weight saying, I want to just give 80% of the budget that I had planned for this project. So I can put a weight of 80% to remove 20% for this project, and we can see the effect on the bottom part for this project. And we can then do also more advanced simulation by creating project versions. So in case you want to, for example, externalize only part of a project or have two options, you may create two versions and see the effect of those two versions in different scenarios. So, of course, those kind of scenarios, you will have so your manager asking for always one additional scenario, and you will end up with having like tens of scenarios. So in Excel, we know it's possible to create scenarios, but then when comes the time to compare all of those scenarios, when you are in Excel, it's sometimes very complicated. So here, what we have in Planisware is the ability to compare scenarios. So that's where a PPM tool is really helpful, is that when using this scenario comparison screen, you can directly compare the scenarios you have created. So here we have one line per scenario and one color, and you can see some high-level financial indicators as well as the strategic alignment. So you can check the scoring of each of those scenario, which one is the most interesting. And we can also check what are the costs compared to your budget, and the target, how you compare with your target revenues for each of your scenarios. So you can have a big picture, global picture of how your scenario competes with another scenario, and give a global overview to your management, saying why one scenario would not maybe be better than another one.
So then if you make a selection, then that can then feed into your decision on that new project requirement.
Yes, exactly. And so here, if we think that we have a good scenario, we can decide to make a decision for our project. So here we can see here that we have the ability to make the decision. So I will click on this. We have here the information about this project, and you can see the project EAC. And for the moment, we don't have any budget yet. So when clicking on go for this gate, it's automatically taking a budget reference and filling in the budget with this value. So you can see here that now the budget is filled in, and it's taking a kind of photo of this project. So you can always compare to what was approved when you did the approval of your first gate. So now that we've approved the project, we can have a quick overview about project execution. So here we are now in the first phase, but I will maybe use another project that has a little more progress. So I will open another existing project that's already in the second phase as well. And let me go to the Gantt view of this project. So we are really a full scheduling tool. We have all the capabilities of scheduling tool. You would have all the functionalities that you could find in Microsoft project, for example. And here we are on the Gantt chart for this project. So I can, for example, enter the progress for any of the tasks. And we have here a project that's in more waterfall mode, but we want to manage this project in a hybrid way. So what I will do is, for the development phase, I will create some sprint, but instead of doing that and creating all the activities manually into the Gantt, I will directly insert an activity library. So it's a kind of set of activities like a template. So here I would select the 4 sprints library that you can import into your project to automatically create some activities. So it's really faster than creating everything manually, and you can keep your initial template quite light. And then when comes the time to detail one phase, you can add those libraries. So here I will insert this for sprint library, and you can see that we get all the activities that were in the library, as well as the links and so on.
And can we look at these from a change view from a traditional waterfall into something that maybe is more of an agile look and feel?
Yes, completely. So I will here select the first sprint, and I will say that I want to view the board for this activity. So here I am into the board part, and I will need to select the team members of this board. So I will select who will be working on this board. So I will select the team working on this board, and then I will be able to create my stories. So I will say that I want to create the first story with 5 points. And here it's creating this, it's creating this, misclick. So let me go back quickly. Okay, So it's creating this board, and I can directly assign this story to my team. I can create some additional stories and then assign them to other resources from my team. And this is giving me the ability to then view the progress inside this board. So here, of course, it's only just 2 requirements not started, so you won't get a lot of information about progress. So I will switch to another project with more progress. So here you can see that for the development phase, we do have more stories. So we can see how many story points we have, how many are in progress, and so on. And we can calculate the progress based on those stories, and we can get a global overview of the progress of our project based on all of those information.
And there are other agile tools out there, Jira, DevOps, and so forth. If the team running the agile work are using those tools, is there an option to integrate?
Yes, perfectly, because we do have many customers that are already using agile tools like Jira, like Azure DevOps, and so on. So we have created standard integration with those tools. So Jira, Azure DevOps, Haha. We do have some integrated integrations that are delivered in standard for those agile tools, so you can easily retrieve information from them. So now let's have a look at one project dashboard. So I'm going to the project status report for this project. And we can see that we have here some high-level project identification with the project health status. We can have a global overview about the risk and issues of this project, a global overview of the deliverables and their status, some information about the project, cost and load, and the timeline information. So it's giving you really a dashboard, a one-pager for your project.
So a lot of our customers still require a printout of this kind of information, or this to be compiled into a PowerPoint pack for presentation to senior management and stakeholders. Is that an option?
Yes, exactly. So that's something that's really helpful in Planisware, is the ability to print presentation. So we can select several different screens and then click OK to generate a presentation based on the PowerPoint template. So instead of manually generating each month your PowerPoint presentation, you can directly in one click generate your presentation. So it's something that our customers really like, because you can see that you get your slide deck with the status report, also the cost information, the risk of the project. And it's not only just a big picture. So if I want to edit this dashboard, I can also do some changes. I can change the color, for example. I can change the title. So really, that's something that our PM and PMO really like, because they are using the system, and this is really a big added value for them to be able to retrieve all their status report in one click every month, make their life much, much easier.
Looks great.
So I think that's all for the demo.
Well, thank you very much, Marion. That was we covered a lot of ground there. It was very useful. Just go over to a few of the questions if I share my screen. So there were a few questions coming in. One was around the gatekeeper or approvers of the various stages. Is it possible to have more than one person or specific people for specific approvals?
Yes, of course. So we can have several approvers. You can have groups also of people that will be defined on gate, and you may have different approvers for each gate, meaning that depending on the gate, you may have also different people that will be approving it.
Okay. And another question here, in terms of the demo, was that all based on standard and the standard application and configuration, or was there any custom code or add-ins?
No, completely. It's really Planisware is really a tool that's very configurable with an admin section where you don't need to do code. It's really based on tables and things like that. So here, all you've seen is really something that doesn't require any code to set up. It's really standard Planisware.
Okay, thank you. Another question here: is there the capability around a project charter? Setting up a project charter?
Yes, we do have the ability to have a custom project charter. So what you've seen was one pager, but we can also have a project charter with several different information, the list of risk, and some notepads to enter some information. So yeah, that's something that we do for almost all of our customers. Just we do have several variants depending on their interest.
Okay. Thank you. Another question, the question around the scheduling. We looked at the Gantt view. Is it possible to do critical path analysis like with other scheduling tools?
Yes, completely. So we do have the ability to do critical path analysis, and we can even select a subcritical path if needed, and so on.
Okay, great. Thank you. And we had another question around, is it possible to capture and manage additional documents within folders within the project and set up new documents if need be?
Yes, and maybe so we can create as many documents as we need. We have a page dedicated to that and organize them in folders. Also for the audience, we are integrated with Office Online, so you can edit your documents in Office Online and store them in Planisware or in SharePoint. And we also have the ability to edit documents in Google Doc as well. So that's because we do have now customers that are using those technologies, so we are certified for those.
And a couple more questions coming in. One is there a migration path from, if you're coming from Microsoft project to Planisware, is there a migration options?
Yes, so there are two questions around that, so maybe I will try to answer both at the same time. So yes, we do have the ability to import and export files to and from Microsoft projects. So we do have the ability to do export and import of projects with Microsoft project. And so we can use that to migrate project from Microsoft project to Planisware. That's what we usually do to initiate the projects in Planisware.